Welcome to the Veterans Archives podcast, where we honor our nation's veterans by preserving and sharing their stories. You can also hear Veterans Archives on Wreaths Across America Radio every Thursday at 5 p.m. To learn more about our mission, watch veteran interviews, or find out how to record a veteran story, please visit veteransarchives.org. And if you or a veteran you know needs support or resources, we encourage you to download the Battle Buddy app from vetlifetoday.org. Today is Monday, April 13th. We're talking with Thom Miller, who served in the United States Army. So good morning, Thom.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for taking time out of your day to come talk with me today.
Well, it's a pleasure.
Well, great. We'll just dive right in. I'm going to start with a very easy question. When and where were you born?
I was born in Hurley Hospital, Flint, Michigan, December 24th, 1945, at approximately 5 o'clock in the morning. So what a Christmas present for my mom.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Well, I have to ask then, did you get cheated out of birthday and Christmas?
Somewhat, but my mom was always a person who gave people a birthday party. Mm-hmm. So even if I had a birthday party on December 24th, Christmas Eve, we had Twinkies for birthday cakes. My mom always had a party for me. I always got something. But, you know, being so close and overlapping with Christmas, all your presents got the next day.
Right. It's just easier that way, right?
And here's something else that happened. My brother's birthday is on April 24th. Sometimes my brother would get a few presents on my birthday, and I would get a few presents on his birthday.
Oh, so they even things out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, did you grow up in Flint?
Yes, we did. Till about 1950, 53 or 54.
Okay.
Then we moved to Lansing. My father was a wholesale flower salesman for a wholesale flower company in Flint. And we moved to a little town out west of Lansing called Millet.
Mm-hmm.
Just a wide spot in the road. But that's where I went all the way up to fourth grade.
Okay.
Fourth grade, and I'm only saying these times because I'm aware of them. Fourth grade was when we moved into Lansing, mm-hmm. on a street called Hayford Street on the east side of Lansing. And that's where I attended Foster Avenue School, Patton Gill Junior High School, and Eastern High School.
Well, interestingly enough, those are the same schools that I went to.
Is that so?
Yes, I lived on South Foster Street and went to Foster Street School and then went to Patton Gill and then graduated from Eastern.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Foster School is still there, and occasionally I've gone into it for some reason or another, but not much has changed.
No.
All the marble floors are the same, tiling on the walls are the same. I go in there and think about the times I had in different classrooms in there. It's really kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah. Well, talk to me a little bit about growing up on Hayford Street. Did you have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have one brother and two sisters, all younger. Okay. My brother is 18 months younger than me. My sister, well, I'm 80 now. She's 75. My older sister and my younger sister is about 70. So, yes, we had one house, mm-hmm. 2 bedrooms. My parents' I take that back. 3 bedrooms. The house had my parents' bedroom. The 2 girls stayed in one bedroom, and my brother and I in another bedroom. We didn't have the luxury of having our own bedroom at that time.
Right.
So we did grow up on the east side. And on the east side, this was the era of baby boomers. There was a lot of kids on our street. Some are still friends. Some that lived across the street from me, if you can believe that. I have friends that are 50 and 60 years being a friendship. That's a long time.
That is a long time to be
Most
friends.
cars don't last that long.
That's true. That's true.
So, yes, the East Side was peppered with kids. Resurrection, of course, the Catholics had big families.
Right.
So we had 4 in our family. My dad worked as a wholesale flower salesman on the East Side. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. She never had a driver's license. She never had a job except the profession of motherhood, one of the oldest professions.
Yeah.
And she was a good mother. She was smart. She graduated valedictorian in her high school class. So yeah, she studied and she was smart. But that runs in the genes in the family, that the Cobb family. From my mom's side. My dad's side was the Miller family, of course. And my mom was a smart person, a hardworking person, a person that could improvise in a lot of ways. She took care of the home. She was a great mother. All you can say was that she was not a professional, aside from being a professional mother. We all loved her. She lived to be 88. She walked because she didn't have a driver's license.
Right.
She walked, and that contributed to her longevity. Now, a kind of interesting little story there. My mother would walk from Grand River Avenue down to Michigan Avenue, and she walked every place. But one of the high school driver's ed teacher knew my parents. And when he saw my mom walking up the road, he'd make the driver's ed car pull over and pick her up and take her home.
Oh, that's nice.
So, yeah, it was nice. She might have an armload of groceries. So that was really handy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's terrific.
But, yes, we grew up, and our family was quite comparable to a lot of families on the East Side. 3 or 4 kids in the family. One income. You know, nowadays, people would say, oh, we couldn't get by on one income. We'll have to be 2 incomes. But women like to work too, and I respect that. But you can get by on one income if you do it right.
Right.
You know, if you eat at home, you cook at home. My mom was a good person. She was a good person to make things. She made quite a bit of our clothes. She would make them out of used fabrics that she would pick up at thrift stores. So yeah, you can get by on one income. It doesn't seem like it nowadays, but you can't.
It's entirely possible.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's more difficult, but we always got along and we always did pretty well.
Yeah.
We had a boat, and my dad bought a boat. He had a station wagon and a pickup. But we learned to water ski. We used the boat. My dad would take us fishing on the boat. We would go out to Lake Muskegon all the way across the state, or someplace nearby in the state. And we would water ski. It was all a family deal. We were a tight-knit family, and we were a very tight-knit surrounding family. My cousins and I are still close friends. My cousin Bob, in the summertime, us 4 kids would go to Clarkston, Michigan, and stay down there for a week or so. Come back to Lansing. Their kids would come back with us, and then we'd go to Flushing, Michigan. And so we got around, and our family is tight-knit because we were just always together. We did things together. Families did things together.
Right. Extended family as well.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a little contrary to the way it is nowadays, because people tend to move across the country, all locations around California, Arizona, Texas, Florida, East Coast. And we're going to have a family reunion this year, and I hope we get as many people as we can. But the point is, we tend to spread out across the country because we feel we need to do that for a job, for the money. And sometimes that's true.
Yeah.
But our families get so spread out that we have a hard time having a family reunion. It's hard time for people to come in from Phoenix, especially if we bring in a dish to pass.
Right. That's hard to
Or
do.
Redwood City, California. We get disentangled, and it's really kind of too bad.
Yeah.
Because the nuclear family is a very crucial point of our society.
Right.
You know, we need that connection amongst our family members, and it's important.
Yep.
I've had opportunities in my employment years where I could have gone to Minneapolis, I could have gone to Kansas City for a job, but I did not. I chose not to. Because my reasoning was I wanted to see my nephews and nieces grow up. I didn't want to be that guy who comes around at Christmas time or once a week out of the year.
Right.
I wanted to see my nephew play basketball in high school and college. Those things are important. They make the connection. I didn't have any children myself, but I bought lots of pairs of shoes for people.
Right.
Basketball shoes, whatever was in style for my nieces, yada, 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 all that. You know, I wanted to be connected with them. I didn't want to be that strange uncle that comes around once a year.
Right. Well, I can understand that. Let's back up a little bit, though. I'd like to talk about school. So how was school for you? And did you play sports? Did you have favorite subjects?
Yes, I did. In high school, well, I was always a pretty good student because my mother stressed that. She was a good student. She stressed us, and she helped us a lot with our studies. In many cases, if I had to write a theme for high school, she would sit down with me and we would do it together. And she had a great vocabulary. She was smart. That's all there is to it. But she was smart because they studied. They valued education. My grandfather on my mother's side was a student at Michigan State, but he was a piano tuner. He did things not like the hard-working farmers that lived in the Thom area of Michigan. He did things that were more artistic. So they were poor. They were dirt poor. They're not poor like today, but dirt poor, where you canned everything you ate in the winter. And you made do with just about everything. You improvised with everything. So at any rate, going back to my, yes, I went to Foster Avenue School, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. Then went to Patton Gill Junior High School. And I played junior high school football. And when I went on to Eastern High School on the east side on Jerome Street, Jerome, Pennsylvania, I would played football there, played sports, studied, because I was never what you call a brilliant person. I was a person who had to study to make it.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the National Honor Society in high school, but I had to study to do that.
Right.
It wasn't something that I wasn't a rocket scientist or a brain surgeon, So from that standpoint, I went through Eastern High School. My first date ever was with a girl on the east side. My two buddies said, "Hey, Tom," I thought they were pretty cool guys.
Uh-huh.
"Tom, let's get a date and go to the high school dance." "Oh man, I'm too, I don't think I could do it." But I finally mustered enough confidence to get a date with a gal by the name of Sue Ann Shallow, who lived 3 or 4 blocks away.
Uh-huh.
I was the only one that night that had a date. I thought they were cool. They were already set up.
Right.
So I mustered all my confidence, invited Sue Ann Shallow, and it turned out to be a lot of fun at the high school dance, the sock hop.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, when I go to high school class reunions, I still see Sue Ann.
Uh-huh.
And I tell her, "Hey, you were my first date ever." I was so shy.
Yeah.
I would say shit if I had a mouthful.
Right. So,
But I overcame that.
well, good.
And I never got married, but hey, I've had a lot of dates. I'm not gay or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with that being said, but Sue Ann, and I went to the junior high school prom.
Uh-huh.
Paula Carney. I went to the senior high school prom. Bonnie Sue Carlson. And my dad was in the flower business. So he always made sure I had a nice corsage to take to these girls.
Right. Right. So
But I was never a skirt chaser in high school. Since that time, I've improved my technique.
So you've chased a few skirts since then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that.
I can't seem to stop. I don't know why it is.
At
any rate, I went to Eastern High School.
Uh-huh.
Was in the National Honor Society. Took college prep courses. I loved the language of French, and I had a great French teacher in high school. He had polio, so he was all messed up physically.
Right.
But he was a great French teacher. When you came into his classroom, you spoke and thought in French, which I liked.
Yeah. Yeah.
That education in French carried me when I took off and went to Europe, backpack trip to Europe. I spent some time in France, Paris, Marseille, all over.
So did you go to Europe then right after graduation?
Right after college graduation.
Okay, so you graduated high school in 1963 then? Must be
54.
64. And then where did you go to college?
Well, I did my cousins and I, which I said were close and tight knit. We went to Dade Junior College in Miami.
Okay.
Took a year down there. That was a fun time. Living in the southern climate was nice. But then I came back. I wanted to ski. So I came back to Michigan and went to Ferris State College and university now.
Right.
But I somehow or another got my head into accounting at Dade Junior College. For what reason, I don't know. So I came back to Ferris. But in the meantime, right after high school, I went to LCC.
Okay.
And worked at a wholesale flower company here in Lansing. My uncle owned it. My dad managed it. It was a place where all the family members passed through there.
Everybody worked there at one time or another.
Everybody had a job. That was a nice thing about it. We always had a job. So at any rate, I applied to Ferris, and yes, I was accepted at Ferris. I went into their accounting program. There again, I don't know what my big attraction was for accounting, maybe business, but accounting does give you integral knowledge of business. You
Right.
know the comings and goings of money and business. You're pretty. You know the heartbeat of it.
Right.
So, so then I went to college at Ferris. Buddy and I from high school shared a cabin out on the north side of Big Rapids, and we had a lot of fun. Probably a lot more than we should have.
Right.
But I skied. I was able to go skiing a lot. I went up north a lot. I liked the proximity of Big Rapids, and I still do. I have a cousin who lives up there. But at any rate, when I graduated, this was a time when people took off and went traveling in Europe. So I bought myself an aluminum backpack, worked in the flower business, rolled up a bankroll, took off for Europe. Got on a charter flight out of MSU, flew into Germany, had a good pair of hiking boots, started walking and hitchhiking. And training. I had a Eurail pass. Now with a Eurail pass, you can just walk up and get on a train and you show it to the conductor. And bam, you had a place to sleep overnight if you needed it. But I was also in a youth hostel. Youth hosteling in Europe. It's not exactly all for kids, although it is for kids. Cheap place to stay and get a shower for the night.
Yeah.
But Europeans travel by youth hosteling quite a bit. It's an inexpensive way to stay, stay for $5 a night. That's pretty cheap.
That is.
Get a place to stay and a shower, that's pretty good.
So how long did you stay in Europe?
2 months.
Okay. Did you wear out those?
I stayed as long as I could, because when you go into the workforce, you become employed, unless you're a teacher, you don't get 2 months of time off in a row.
That's true.
And teachers have a good situation. My sister's a teacher, Spanish teacher. But she's a Spanish teacher. But when I went to Europe, I was like a wandering Jew. I had all my worldly possessions on my back, including a 35 millimeter camera and a fifth of Canadian Club whiskey, which came in handy on one event. But and when you do a trip like that, and you're on your own, you're independent, you come back a different person. You've gone into the world. And when I was traveling in Europe, there was no calling mom and dad and saying, "Hey, Dad, I need $100." No, everything you had with you.
Right.
And you had to deal with life as it was, not as you wished it was.
Right. There were no cell phones and no ATMs.
No.
Yeah.
No. Think about the cell phone. What did we do before the age of cell phone? How did we live without it?
Yeah.
Nowadays, and I'm dependent like this, but younger people are even more dependent. Without the cell phone, they're like a lost soul.
You're right. Right. They need that. They need that connection.
I would have to say, if I forget my cell phone in the morning and it makes me nervous and anxious, oh my gosh, who's called me?
Right.
What do I need to do? Blah, blah, blah.
We've been well trained.
Yes.
Yes, we have.
And how did we ever live without them?
I know that we did, because I didn't have a cell phone as a kid. I know we lived just fine without them. We've come dependent upon them. So when did you return from Europe then?
I returned from Europe in the early 70s, and I can't remember exactly what year it was.
Mm-hmm.
And returned from Europe. I had a degree in accounting, and I practiced some accounting with a cousin up in St. John.
Uh-huh.
Agricultural accounting. He was one of my issues with accounting was I never had a bookkeeping class in high school. So debits and credits, I wasn't aware of that much.
It's very confusing stuff.
Huh?
It can be very confusing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it can. And being an accountant, you have to have a lot of knowledge about business, all the laws that pertain to it, all the ways that things are done. So I really didn't have that. I wasn't prepared for that. I wish I had been.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I might have been an accountant. But I was sucked back into the family business of wholesale flower selling. I did my years of, I did about 20 years selling in Grand Rapids.
Mm-hmm.
This was with a refrigerated truck about the size of a school bus. We carried a load of flowers around to flower shops, and we sold flowers to flower shops. That was our function.
Right.
And so that's what I did for 20 years. And then when that company dissolved, my uncle's company dissolved, I went to work for a company in Flint, Denver Wholesale. And I drove a semi. I sold flowers in the Saginaw Bay City area. Then I drove a semi loaded with flowers up into the northern climes of Southern Peninsula, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, there was a lot of blizzards up there. Still is. Great ski country.
Yeah.
But yeah, I drove a semi up there. And I have to tell you, that was mind expanding too. Driving all over northern Michigan, I am pretty familiar with northern Michigan. I love it. I love Michigan.
Yeah.
Even though I traveled to Europe, I probably would never do another trip to Europe because there's so many things to see in Michigan.
Well, our states are very big. Our states are the size of countries.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, there's a lot to see here. Definitely.
Exactly. A lot of interesting things to see. From the Sioux Locks to Alpena and Petoskey and Charlevoix and all the way down the Lake Michigan shoreline. It's a beautiful state.
Yeah, it is.
And personally, I like 4 seasons. I feel sorry for the people in Arizona and Florida and Texas because they don't know the joy that we experience when spring comes to Michigan.
Yeah.
Flowers start blooming, the grass starts growing.
Well, and sometimes you get all 4 seasons in 1 week.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's a bonus. So
it is so crazy like that.
So tell me, at what point did you join the Army?
Let's take a quick break.
Before we continue, we'd like to share a resource that may be helpful to veterans and their families. The Battle Buddy app from vetlifetoday.org is designed to connect veterans with support, resources, and a community that understands their experiences. If you or a veteran you know could benefit from those resources, we encourage you to download the Battle Buddy app and learn more at vetlifetoday.org.
Well, I was attending LCC when I graduated from Lansing Eastern.
Yeah.
I was attending, and they were drafting. The military draft was in effect. And I took a light load of classes, and my number came up in the draft.
Okay.
And when you did, I mean, I had friends that went to Canada, and I had friends that were just drafted into the military here.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into the military as scared as anybody was. When you go into the military, you don't know what's going to happen. My
Right.
sisters were at the point where you go into the military bawling because they thought I was going to go to Vietnam. Everybody that went in, it was a real popular thing. When you went in the military, you trained. I had my military MOS was an infantryman. That
Right.
means you carry a rifle and you go out in the field and shoot people. But I didn't. I went up to Fort Dix, New Jersey, became infantry trained, and at that time I applied for officer candidate school because I had some college.
Yeah.
And so I was accepted. I went back to Fort Knox. I was accepted into the Armor OCS. That means you'd be a tank driver or an armored personnel carrier, something of that nature. I washed out of Armor OCS because I didn't believe that the techniques they were using were imperative to create a person to be an officer. The one incident that I had that really turned me off was we were in the day room, and the wives, we were in there, we could meet our family. So a wife brought her husband some cookies,
Mm-hmm.
and he ate one. Well, the TAC officer made him crawl around the day room in front of his wife for eating that cookie. I didn't think that was the kind of something that makes a soldier.
Right.
He was doing what comes natural. Your wife gives him a cookie, he takes a bite. But apparently that was not allowed. So I soured on officer candidate school from that point.
Yeah.
Military academies are tough. They try to break you down and build you up. But as it turned out, I washed out of OCS.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a holding company in Fort Knox. At Fort Knox, they needed some people to be training sergeants.
Mm-hmm.
So they put me out in a company on Fort Knox. And you're going to be an assistant to this drill sergeant. But okay, that's fine. I could do that. So I did it. I was what they call a drill corporal.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you do the job, but you don't get to pay for it.
Right. You get all the responsibility, but none of the pay.
All the you were acting. So at any rate, I did it, and I was pretty good at it. And so they said, well, would you like to go to NCO's non-commissioned officer school? And I said, sure, I'll learn to be a training sergeant.
Yeah.
I went to NCO school, learned the techniques of training people, which a lot of those techniques are just basic principles of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I became a drill sergeant. I had a Smokey Bear hat, all that.
Yeah.
And I really think I was pretty good at it because I was tough. I did the things that people had to do: physical training, military education. And I did it pretty good. And as I went with a lot of drill sergeants that I could observe and see in the Army, they had a power syndrome. They had a power over you. You had a power over the people that came into your training company.
Right.
Now, with that being said, I tried to put myself into a position where I respected them. Because a year before that, I was just a babe in arms coming in the military. And a lot of drill sergeants had this power complex that they would abuse people.
Yeah.
I tried not to do that. Whatever they had to do, I tried to do it with them. I tried to be a good example. And I think I was, because I got certain awards for it. But, you just have to have a respect for people. You have to have a respect for the men that you're training.
Right.
You don't abuse them. You don't cuss them out. You don't hit them. You don't beat on them. You respect them. So I did that, and I did pretty good at it.
And how long did you do that?
1 year, 11 months, and 10 days.
But who's counting, right?
Yes, exactly.
So you were in the Army for then 2 years, basically?
2 years. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But in the Army, if your college began within 90 days of your ETS, you could get out within that 90-day period. So 2 cousins and I and a friend from Flint went to Miami and went to Dade Junior College.
Okay.
And lived down in Miami, which was a lot of fun. I mean, I did a lot of stuff down there. Went to Key West, went to the Bahamas, chased women, all that.
Yep. So that's how you ended up in Florida then.
Yes.
Okay, and then you came back to Michigan, went to Ferris, and
Right.
then
My cousin and I came back to Michigan.
Yeah.
He went to Michigan State, stayed with our cousin out at East Lansing, but I moved to Big Rapids. And I really like Big Rapids.
Yeah.
Nice town, small town. Still is a nice small town. And I was close to the ski hills, in which I did a lot of skiing. Both cross country and downhill alpine skiing. And so, yes. Then, when I graduated from Paris, I went to Europe.
Right.
I rolled up a bankroll working, went to Europe, came back, and hooked up at my uncle's flower company.
Right. And you were there for 20 years?
20 years.
Wow.
In Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
I spent another 8 years or so selling in Saginaw, Bay City. And as it turned out, I drove a semi up into Europe, to the northern parts of the Lower Peninsula, which was a very good experience. Hard work.
Yeah.
But the money was pretty good. I bought a sailboat, and I got into sailing. And I love sailing. I'd like to have another sailboat, but I don't have it right now. But, I'm a person who is not going to sit around someplace and die. I'm going to get up and keep moving and doing things.
Yeah.
Following my dreams.
Yeah.
Well, when the company that I was terminated from a company in Flint, I quit. There are very few people that I cannot get along with, but this was the manager that was always on my ass for one reason or another, and we couldn't get along. So I departed on my own volition. There again, he just died recently. He had a heart attack, but he was a heavy smoker and a heavy drinker. I did some of that too, but not heavy.
Right.
And early on in my life, I smoked some cigarettes, but I was able to overcome it, thankfully. And I abused alcohol, I admit it. That's why I quit it. I did not want to turn into an alcoholic, dependent on alcohol. And so I was able to quit it nowadays. I'll have a drink, occasional drink, a glass of wine, a beer, maybe a cocktail. But I don't drink. You could say that I don't drink. And I'm thankful for that, because I have abused alcohol, put myself in really dangerous situations, And I just quit.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Thankfully, I could quit. Some people can't do that.
Yeah.
Too bad for them. I feel sorry for people who've abused alcohol and can't control it because they cannot sit down with a friend and have a beer or a drink and let that be all there is. I have one friend that I took care of in the business, and he could not find the stop button. He couldn't quit. When he started drinking, he got fall down drunk.
Yeah.
And that's too bad, because that means you can't control yourself.
Right. Right.
And so with that being said, he's still a friend. I talk to him all the time. But I don't think he realizes how big a person I was. I helped him keep his job.
Mm-hmm.
I took him to work. I preached to him about the downfalls of alcohol, which I wasn't a very good example. You know?
Right.
But at
Right.
any rate, I was able to overcome that possibility.
Mm-hmm.
When a person gets hooked into drugs or alcohol, it's a sad case.
Yeah.
Their life kind of goes down the toilet. I have a niece and a nephew right now that went completely broke. They gambled with online gambling on your phone. They did cocaine. They did marijuana, which marijuana is legal. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I did myself, but I quit that too.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad to see somebody go broke, and I would tell them that cocaine is going to steal your money, going to steal your energy, and it's eventually going to steal your life.
Right.
And so consequently, I hope they have gotten that picture, because, you know, when you go broke at 25 or 30, that's a rough pill to swallow.
It is.
When mom and dad don't want to support you anymore and you don't have anything, you might have to go down and live at the city rescue mission. That's not very cool.
No, that's very difficult.
Yes,
Very
it is.
difficult life.
It's very difficult for a family to observe that sort of thing happening.
Yes.
The ones you loved are now on the skids in life.
So talk to me a little bit about when I want to go back to when you left your job in Flint. So how old were you when you quit that job?
In Flint,
Yeah, when you.
I was probably about 45.
Okay, and so what did you do after that?
Then I needed a job. I needed to work. So I went to work for Circuit City.
Uh-huh.
It's a company that sells appliances and electronics.
I remember Circuit City.
Circuit City.
Yeah.
That was a story about a company who expanded too much too fast. You know,
Yeah.
there is a certain point of diminishing returns where more stores doesn't translate into more profits, more headaches,
Mm-hmm.
most of the time. But anyway, I worked for Circuit City. I learned a lot about appliances, and I learned a lot about electronics, big screen TVs, you know, high definition TVs. And then they were hiring in a place in Okemos called Big George's. Big George's was a company out of Ann Arbor
Mm-hmm.
that sold appliances and electronics, not computers, but TVs,
Radios, TVs,
high
that kind of
definition
stuff.
TVs and radio sound
Yeah.
systems. And so I spent about 8 years doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I came into Big George's company here in Lansing, but I commuted into the Big George's company in Ann Arbor. It's a real predominant business in Ann Arbor.
Mm-hmm.
Until the box stores got into electronics and appliances, Big George was a key person in Ann Arbor. If you wanted a washing machine, you went to Big George's.
Yeah.
If you wanted a high definition TV, You went to Big George's because the people that worked there knew about what they were doing, and photography.
Mm-hmm.
But as it went with photography, people would come in and pick a person's mind on the information about photography, and then go online and buy the camera.
Right.
Big George didn't like that.
Yeah, because this is the late 90s at this point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of commuting to Ann Arbor,
Mm-hmm.
in which I learned of the town in Ann Arbor, which is a very good town. It's kind of like Madison, Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
A very, well, let's face it, I don't care what you think about the football team and football Saturday, U of M is a great school.
Oh, yeah.
And all the professions, but Michigan State is too,
Uh-huh.
just in a little different fields. So I spent time down there, learned a lot, made some money, and then I was terminated from Big George's, and I don't know why, because I sold a lot of service plans after the product.
Right. Which is where the
They
money is
love
made.
that, you know.
That's where they make their money, isn't it?
Yes,
Tom?
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's pros and cons to that, but if I had a high-tech TV, I would want a service plan.
Yeah.
Some of the washing machines we sold, $2,000 washing machine, it's a good idea to have a little extra protection on it,
Absolutely.
you know, because they're high-tech. They have sensors. They have all kinds of stuff that you would never imagine. Even your car that you drive, you have all kinds of stuff that you would never imagine.
Right.
As high-tech as things are nowadays, I think continued service plans are not a bad idea.
Uh-huh.
You know, just roll it into the cost of your product and don't even think about it.
Right. Right.
You know, but you got an extra guarantee. So then in the meantime, I had bought my parents' house and a couple other houses and dabbled in real estate, which was not smart for me. Real estate is a bailiwick all of its own. And you should know that before you do something like that, because the money is pretty big.
Yeah.
The bigger the houses, the bigger. And I got screwed. I had a big heart. I shouldn't have done it. A woman was with her daughter and a couple of grandkids raked me over the coals. I lost on that deal.
Yeah.
And I did everything that I cautioned other people about doing. Unless you are knowledgeable about real estate and being a rental person,
Mm-hmm.
you better get knowledgeable because your losses could come pretty big and pretty fast.
Right. Well, that could be devastating too.
Yes, absolutely.
So you didn't stay in the real estate business very long, then I
No.
take it. Yeah. Well, so what'd you do after that?
After that, I retired.
Okay.
And when I retired, I still liked the idea of selling flowers. I like flowers, for one thing. So I said one day, you know, being the ambitious person that I am,
Uh-huh.
I said, you know, I think I would still like to sell flowers. So I'm going to get me a cart, and I'm going to put a couple pails of flowers in it, and I'm going to go to student housing, student apartments, retirement housing and apartments, and I'm going to go out on the corner over in Old Town Lansing, have my flower cart up there, and sell flowers to people that are walking by for various events, such as the blues festival, jazz festival, whatever might be up there. And it was kind of fun, you know.
Yeah.
Being a street salesman or a street performer, I tell people that if you're proficient in playing a guitar or singing or playing a piano and you can get a piano out on the street, go out there and do it. And put a can up there and people will throw a buck or two in there to you. It's fun. It's actually fun because you're interacting with people.
Uh-huh.
So I advise people to do that.
Now, do you still sell flowers?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not officially retired yet.
Are you married?
I am.
I should have brought some flowers to you. but I only sell them. I've had friends in the flower business that had their own flower shop. And they're floral artists. They know how to put a bouquet together and make it real pretty.
Right.
Know how to do a wedding, know how to do a funeral, blah, 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 all that. But I like the concept of just selling a handful of flowers to somebody and put them in a vase and enjoy the beauty of the flowers and maybe the smell.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. I keep it simple. I keep it cheap. I don't have a big capital investment. I have fun at it.
You know, when I was in junior high school, I worked for Bancroft Flower Shop on Michigan Avenue.
Is that so?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of flowers.
So now, did you work for Wayne Bancroft?
No, I worked for Joe and Gina. Yeah.
Ferraro.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And I knew them.
Great people.
We did business. The company I worked for in Lansing, we did business with them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Joe and Gina were, I won't say they were close friends, but we were acquaintances.
Yeah.
And they did a pretty darn good job with Bancroft.
They did.
Bancroft was a paramount name in Lansing. Norm Kessel was another one.
Yeah. We had
Norm Kessel and my dad were buddies. We would go up to Drummond Island, where Norm Kessel owned a fishing cabin, shack, back on the back part of Drummond Island, which is very, very rudimentary. When you talk about two-tracking, you went over the plains to get back to their cabin.
Wow.
No electricity. The water you drank and cooked with, you went down to Lake Huron and dipped it out of the lake. You had gas lanterns.
Mm-hmm.
It was basic, real basic.
Yeah.
But it was a great time. Norm and my dad, we went up there, we would fish for northern pike and walleye and whatever else we caught. My brother and I would go up there. It was a great time. Norm had two sons about the same age as my brother and I.
Uh-huh.
We stayed in this ramshackle cabin and cooked our dinners on a wood stove. No electricity.
Yeah.
And at nighttime, if you got woke up, you might see a deer appearing in the window of the cabin. It was just that wild.
Yeah. Everybody got along, nature and everybody there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's...
And one year, we were all up there, but his oldest son, Jim, and I still am in contact with him.
Uh-huh.
They were burning poison ivy, burning brush and poison ivy, and he got in some of the smoke from that poison ivy. He was in such bad shape, we had to take him back down to Sparrow.
Yeah.
Put him in the car, take him down to the hospital. Poison ivy's a bad deal.
Especially when you breathe the smoke. I don't think people realize that. You can't do that. Yeah.
And the smoke gets on you, it just encumbers you.
Yeah. It's bad news.
Yes.
I've asked you a lot of questions, but there's a couple more questions I want to ask you, but I want to go back because you mentioned something and you got to tell me this story. So you said that when you went backpacking in Europe, you had a bottle of Canadian Club and you said it came in handy. Is there a story behind that?
Okay, yes, there is. I just told that to a gal at church yesterday and Sunday.
Well, if you can tell it to a gal at church, it must be a good
I had
story.
Canadian Club, which is a pretty good-sized bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
I had it. I carried it for quite a while. I carried it for a month or so, never used it. So I'm in Marseille, France one night. Got in there on the train, had my backpack, and I was looking for the youth hostel. And I bumped into a couple guys. Somehow or another, we got a little conversation going. One spoke only French. The other one was an English person who spoke English. And I said, well, it's late at night. I need a place to stay. He said, well, the youth hostel's over here in another part of town. So I tried to find it, but I couldn't. So I was back downtown again. By and by, I came back across these two guys. And I didn't have a place to stay. It was 10, 11 o'clock at night. So they said, well, look, why don't you come up and stay in our apartment? I didn't know these guys from Adam.
Uh-huh.
They could have rolled me and killed me easily. So I said, you get a kind of an instinct about people.
Right.
If they're good or if they're bad or if they're dangerous. But when you're out and about, cruising the world like I did, you get an instinct. And I did a lot of hitchhiking.
Mm-hmm.
Hitchhiking is another one of those things. If you're going to jump in a car with somebody, you have no idea what that person's going to be like. You have to make about a 5-second judgment of whether it's a good idea or not. So, at any rate, I said, yeah, okay, I'll stay with you. So we went up to their apartment, and the one guy had a girlfriend that worked in a place that served pizza. And she brought a pizza up to the apartment. So I had this fifth of Canadian Club in my pack that hadn't been cracked yet.
Uh-huh.
And so I brought that out. We all drank some shots of whiskey and had pizza and slept the night.
Yeah.
And actually, as I recall, I slept pretty good after all that Canadian Club probably. But it was just one of those things that I knew someplace or another along the way, it would come in handy.
Uh-huh.
And it was actually kind of heavy to carry. So getting rid of it wasn't a bad deal for me.
Right.
So that was what happened in the fifth of whiskey.
What a great story.
Huh?
I said, what a great story.
Yeah, and Marseille has a lot of bad people in it. It's on the African coast of Morocco.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of bad people pass through there.
Well, they get a lot of big ships through there, don't they? And so it's you don't know what you're going to run into.
No, it could be anything.
Yeah.
Just like these guys, they could have. I had to go by my human nature instinct.
Uh-huh.
I did not feel I was threatened or didn't feel like they were going to jump me and rob me.
Yeah.
Because they were, if a person's pretty friendly and conversational, and you could get some conversation going, a friendly heart comes through.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I had to go by that.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they had a gut instinct that you had some good whiskey with you, too.
Huh?
I say maybe they had a gut instinct that you had some good whiskey.
Yeah, maybe they did. They probably did.
Yeah.
Say, here's an Americano. I bet he's got something good in that bag.
Exactly. So, I'm curious, what's next for you? What do you do? What is your future
After I came back, I spent all my time in the wholesale flower business.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now that you're done in that business, but you're still doing a little bit of selling.
Yeah.
What do you think your future looks like from here?
I'd like to build a flower company.
Uh-huh.
I would like to sell flowers. To me, it's fun. I go into Bircham Hills retirement place, and I bump into people that come to me frequently. Every time I come in, they buy something.
Yeah.
I go into the university apartments. Of course, everybody's a whole lot younger there.
Right.
But I bumped into this woman that bought a lot of flowers from me, who was a Muslim. And I can't exactly think of what country. It was a small country in Saudi Arabia. Very good person. She was just very friendly. Her major was in physics, so she was smart. She would go back home and be a person probably in the government where she was at, and be a scientist, being a physics person. But I've had a lot of good times just being out on the street and interacting with people. And I have never felt that anybody's going to jump me and rob me and take my bankroll.
Right.
I've never had that feeling. But I don't flash a lot of cash around either.
Right.
You have to be smart about that.
Yes, you do.
You don't want to pull out a handful of 20s and 50s, because there's poor people out there that need money. So you've got to, and I probably given away as many flowers as I've sold. Nobody walks away saying, oh gosh, I'd like some flowers, but I don't have any money. I always tell them, look, I'm going to give you something. The next time you see me, pay me if you can.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised at how often that happens. A little old lady downtown at the Porter apartment, she ran up a bill with me about 30 or 40 bucks. She was messed up. She was old. She was an old person. And she lived the old person's life.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I'm an old person, but I don't live the old person's life. I try not to. Anyway, she paid me. And people all the time will come up, and you kind of have to have a faith in the goodness of people. Somebody will walk up to me on the street or in a student apartment or something and say, oh, here's that $5 I owe you. I forgot all about it.
Right.
You know, so I take it. Sometimes I give them an extra flower just for being honest.
Yeah.
But, you know, you kind of have to have a certain instinct and faith about the goodness of people. There's some bad people out there which you have to kind of avoid, but there's a lot of good people out there.
Right.
A lot of people that are honest, just because of honesty, not because they have to or they're afraid of going to hell, just because they're honest.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I think this is a good point to ask. So we've talked about a lot of different things. We've talked about your life and all of that. I really just have one more question to ask you, if you're ready. And that question is, for someone who is listening to this 100 years from now that doesn't know either one of us, what message would you like to leave them with?
I would say, believe in God, know the 10 Commandments and the Golden Rule and practice them, and your life will probably be pretty good if you do that. But believing in God is important. You know, there's nothing physical about believing in God. It's all spiritual. So do that. And I have friends that maybe have 3 or 4 kids, young kids, in the say like the 12 and under age. And I would tell them, I've told a couple friends, I said, you know, you have children. And there's a lot of forces at play for children nowadays. Social media, a lot of peer pressure for drugs, a lot of different forces that we never had when we were young. Mm-hmm. We lived, we played, we had a good time, we ate, we had fun, but we didn't have social media.
Right.
We didn't have computers. You know, if you can be addicted to a computer, and you shouldn't be. You should try to avoid it, because life is more than what's happening in that little black box.
Right.
Life is more than that. People got along just fine, lived happy lives before the age of the computer, which is a good tool for living, for performing your business job, performing the things you want to perform. But don't become addicted and think life actually happens in there. Life happens here, in your head and your heart. So that would be my advice. Know God, believe in God, and that's why I attend church every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
People say, "Oh, Tom, why do you go to church every Sunday?" And I said, "Well, first of all, I believe in God. I believe there is a God, and when I go into church, I focus my prayers on what I want my prayers to have happened. And if you do that, somehow or another, it's easier to do it in church than just any place. And when I leave church, I feel better than when I went in. I have a lot of friends there. I interact with them. I talk to them. But I stress it to a friend of mine, a couple of friends of mine with children. Take your children to church at least once a month so they have an idea where our moral fiber comes from. Don't lie, don't steal.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because that's what God says. That's what you need to think about. In the 10 Commandments, if you live by the 10 Commandments, which I haven't always done,
Mm-hmm.
your life will be better. If you don't covet thy neighbor's wife and your neighbor's husband comes and gets you, it's not going to be fun.
No.
He's not going to show you any mercy.
Right.
Because a marriage is a covenant with God. It's a covenant, it's a promise in God. If you don't want to be married, nobody's forcing you. Be a playboy. That's what I've been, somewhat, on the borderline of it. But I have nothing against marriage. I just haven't done it yet. I haven't run into that person that I would like to give everything I have to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying, though. I'm still chasing. You know?
Yeah, well, I think that helps keep us young sometimes.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it does.
Well, Tom, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come share your story
Well,
with me.
I appreciate you doing it. And if somebody can look it up online and enjoy the conversation that we've had, that would be a good thing.
I agree with you.
All
right.
But the paramount thing that I would say, believe in God, know God, read the Bible if you can. The Bible is a rule book for living, but it's also a history book. Maybe the history's dry, maybe it doesn't apply too much today, but surprisingly it does apply. Especially, like I say, the 10 Commandments, Golden Rule, treat others as you'd like to be treated. Your life will be pretty good. You may not be living in White Hills Estate, driving a Mercedes, but your life will still be pretty good.
Yeah.
And don't base your happiness on the dollar bill. Because, don't hug your money, because the money doesn't hug back.
Thank you for listening to the Veterans Archives podcast and for helping us honor the service and sacrifice of our nation's veterans. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with others so more people can hear these important stories. To learn more about our mission, watch additional veteran interviews, or find out how to record a veteran story, please visit veteransarchives.org. And if you or a veteran you know needs support or resources, we encourage you to download the Battle Buddy app from vetlifetoday.org. You can also hear Veterans Archives on Wreaths Across America Radio every Thursday at 5 p.m.